Be excellent to each other and party on. We're back for another Legacy League, and today we are playing mono blue lessons with no reserve list cards. You can build this deck for a few $100s, and it is focused around these crazy new lesson cards from the Avatar set, specifically Accumulate Wisdom, which is basically Ancestral Recall if you have 3 lessons in your graveyard. With Gran-Gran, the cost is actually reduced to where it is 1 blue mana instant, but instead of drawing the cards, you just put them straight in your hand. This card is cracked, and unfortunately, you do need to play a lot of lessons to support it. These cards are not that great, but Boomerang Basics is insane, and independent of it being a lesson, it's still a legacy playable card. Let's take a look at these other lessons, though. I've got a total of, I think, 15 here just to ensure that we're able to hit our lesson threshold. We've got Abandon Attachments, which can help us do this. 1 colorless, 1 blue mana, instant lesson. You may discard a card. If you do, draw 2 cards. So essentially, it replaces itself and the worst card in your hand. It gives you 2 fresh cards. And often you can just bin a lesson with that. One of those cards that is often going to be binned against decks that don't have removal is this card, Octopus Form. I've got 3 of these. 1 blue mana, instant lesson. Target creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains hexproof until end of turn. Untap it. So you can use this to stand up a blocker that was previously tapped if you're and do combat tricks. Giving hexproof essentially counters a removal spell. And of course, this is a 1 blue mana instant that triggers your Astrologian's Planisphere, that triggers your Storm Chaser Talent Otter, which of course you can bounce it back. If you haven't been watching my channel, I've got lots of videos where I just use Boomerang Basics on Storm Chaser's Talent for insane value. So I've got the 1 of Gran-Gran. She's legendary. She's not a very good card, but if we do have lessons in the graveyard, I mean, she's just like out there giving all our non-creature spells -1 mana cost, so Dismember's free. Abandon Attachments is 1 blue mana. Astrologian's Planisphere costs 1 blue mana to cast, and of course, as I said, Accumulate Wisdom is 1 blue mana. So we have Murktide here to help us close. That's our 9th and 10th threat in the deck. We're not playing Tamio. The presumption is we're going to be drawing a lot of cards, and we're going to need to deploy those cards. We have an extremely simple mana base of 6 islands, 8 fetches, 4 wastelands. We do have the Dazes in here, so we have essentially 8 main deck spell interaction spells for the stack, so we can counter our opponent's cards. We have 4 consigns in the sideboard. These are great against Eldrazi. 12 Post, Karnforge. We've got 3 Hydroblasts. We've got 4 Piracy Charm. These are good against Bowmasters. That's the main thing. They're also good against other like weenie creatures in the red-white creature deck, specifically the Ocelot Pride, which is a problem for this deck because this deck can go tall, but it can't really go wide. And then we have Force Negations, which I think are so important to winning combo matchups. So let's play a league. By the way, this is completely uncharted territory. I haven't seen anybody else attempt to do a Lessons deck like this in Legacy. I did it with red and blue, and you have access to slightly better Lessons, but you can be wasted, and this deck cannot be wasted. Unknown opponent here. I like this hand a lot. We have the Boomerang Basics Storm Chaser Talent combo. We have Dismember. We have Daze. There's really nothing to not like about this hand other than the fact that we don't have a second land to cast Abandoned Attachments. I'm going to snap keep this. All right. So we're just going to grab an island and deploy our Storm Chaser's Talent. Life total is an issue. We're playing Dismember as our removal spell, and I do believe in playing at least 4 removal spells in your tempo decks. Delver has Bolt. Blue-Black Tempo has Fatal Push, and we have Dismember. But this does cost life, unlike those other ones. Okay, Ancient Tomb strategy. Pass. Okay. Well, Boomerang Basics may find us a second land, or we could just naturally draw it. That's great. What I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and... Yeah, I'm just going to go get my island. I think... They could be on Eldrazi. I'm just going to go ahead and start hitting them in the face. There's no reason to show them the other Storm Chaser's Talent. We can just recast this one that's already out there. They could K-Command this Otter rather than take a bunch of damage. I presume they're playing K-Command. Most Ancient Tomb decks are, unless they're on like Moonstompy or something like that, which is less commonly played in Legacy. We drew land number 3. That's great. Boomerang Basics is so good. So once we abandon attachments, we might... I would like to draw another lesson that we can discard to it. Importantly, we draw after we discard, so it gives us slightly less optionality. If this Daze is clearly going to be past its prime, we don't necessarily have to play it. Storm Chaser talent does trigger prowess. I guess all these cards in my hand trigger prowess. Okay, Lotus Petal. I don't know the story of Avatar, but this card just seems so sad. It's like he's forgetting about his girlfriend, basically. Learn to let her go, or you cannot learn the pure cosmic energy flow from the universe. So I guess maybe this is like about stoicism or something. Okay, so here, unfortunately, they're going to be able to name Dismember. Daze could take this petal, but it can't because this is uncounterable. Good thing for me to notice there. I'm not immune to punting. And if I punt, leave a comment in the timestamps if I don't immediately realize and kick myself afterward. Also, sick art on this Cavern of Souls. It just reminds me of like mini golf with like the black lights and stuff. So our opponent can name anything in our hand. They could name Misty Rainforest, which would actually be kind of annoying. But like, I'm going to dismember this thing. There's no world in which this lives. I think our opponent's on Mono White Initiative. They did name Human here, which is a good deck. It's not like a tier deck, but it's a good deck. Any given Sunday, this is Legacy, Postman, anything is possible. The card they named was Dismember, so I can just pay an extra mana and dismember it, and I think that's what I want to do. I think I actually might want to just... So, I don't want to leave this on the table. It's hard. So, options. One, we just waste this to keep them off doing degenerate things like... if they were to they know about the days. Storm Chaser talent, it makes these 2/2, but we need another thing to make them 3/3 and we don't have it. I think the simple thing to do is just pay to dismember it and attack. Yeah, I'm going to do that. And it's possible I should have just shown them the Wasteland there. I can't remember which I drew for turn. So I should be able to just pay 2 life here and then pay the 3 mana. Successfully dismembering. That does buff our dudes. And now we're going to hit them for 4. The blocker's out of the way. They're dropping to 11. I don't think it would be wise to attempt to cast the initiative creature on this board, considering how quickly we can take the initiative and how low they are in life. Oh, we got a good turn next turn because we can abandon attachments, maybe discard this Daze, which is really rotting in our hand. I mean, it could be cramping their style a little bit. If they Chalice, which I imagine is in their deck, we do have the option of like discarding our Storm Chaser's talent. We also have the ability to regrow a Dismember next turn, which is not nothing. But that does require us taking a turn off from the Prowess train. And if they tap this and they don't have like some insane card, it could be that we can just totally overpower them. They have a lot of mana. I don't think wasting them is correct here. Okay, this is the big Undermountain Adventurer, which I don't know why I say it every time, but this always seems like the sure, unsure guy. If you're like the deodorant commercial, he's like very sure. He's like grabbing onto that bucket like, yeah, I'm very confident that my perspiration will not offend the nostrils of nearby adventurers. So underarm adventurer is kind of what I nicknamed him. All right. I mean, that's pretty good. They've got the initiative. Best card would just be another Dismember. There's no way that I can use this to get this back and still cast it in the same turn cycle, unfortunately. Accumulated Wisdom. So some options. They're at 11. I could just abandon attachments, discard this Accumulate Wisdom, see what I draw. And this is the third lesson. So then if I draw Accumulate Wisdom from here on out, it's an Ancestral Recall. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and use this colorless mana. Because I can. Just in case I have a second blue spell I want to cast. This is an instant, but I'm going to cast it Sorcery Speed here. Play the Saddest Magic card. Accumulate Wisdom to the bin. Wait. No. This is on the stack. Okay, good. I will discard my lesson. Draw. Okay. These cards are not setting the world on fire here. I have an option. I could just smash in for 3. Now I feel kind of dumb for tapping, but I was hoping I would find something instead of just 2 lands. Or I guess I got 2 lands here. That's not good. I could have taken a turn off to get the Dismember. I think what I am going to do is I am going to play this out and I'm going to just attack them and take the initiative here. Then I can at least get a land out of my deck and slow them down a little bit. They don't know. They may let it all through because they don't want to lose this guy. They are. That's huge. Because we get the initiative. And now we have tons of attackers. They're going to need like some sort of board wipe. All right. And next turn, we can regrow and dismember if we have enough life. And we do have 3 lessons in our graveyard in case we draw the Ancestral Recall, which would be sweet. Love to get that in the video, but it's not necessary. They could Fury here. That would be devastating. I don't think they play Fury. I haven't seen any red yet. Actually, I see a mountain. They got the mountain off of that, so I think they are going to Fury here. I can Daze just to buff and save maybe 2 of them. But what they should do is, like, even though I can't counter the Fury, I will Daze. All right, I think that's likely what's going to happen here. Broadside. Okay. They're low in life. Actually, if we hit them again, we forge. So we're 2 hits away from trapping them. Is this death? Do they have a Fury in hand? They may. I can't actually block this, and I think I should just out of respect for Fury. So I'll take 2 and I'll take a bunch, and these are going to die. I'm going to lose everything here, unfortunately. I don't think I'm going to be able to kill them. And if you take issue with that block, let me know, like in the comments. But basically my thinking was like, if they have Fury, we're so screwed. They're buffing that, so I can't dismember this anymore. They're actually tapping this, which tells me a lot. Is this a... Okay, so here's what needs to happen. This can't be countered. They trap me down to 6. I just don't know what I could... Like, if I drew this, I might be able to get out of this. I need more than 1 card, though. Oh, if I drew something, I could Daze my own spell. But I need something that either kills this or gets it out of the way. But I do have the life to trap them. Or to dismember if I had the card. They're killing our dude. Okay. So now I don't think there's any hope of winning here. Let's see if we draw. I mean, let's Ancestral Recall. That's 1 trigger. Okay. Planisphere is not going to save us. This can attack through, and this can almost certainly kill us. So even Ancestral Recall couldn't save us there. I'm just taking a look one last time if there's anything we could do here. I don't think there is. They played very savvily, and were able to kill us. But now we know what they're on. So like Pyroblast is coming in. Piracy Charm can give us Island Walk, which doesn't help actually. So I'll just bring in the Hydros. Cards that come out, like Daze felt pretty abysmal there. Like there was never a window in which we could have Dazed anything, but I think it will be okay. Octopus Form seems like it's okay here. Gran-Gran, they're almost always going to... Like this kind of sucks when you're up against a creature deck because you have to attack with her to get the ability, and it's not a great ability. I mean, it's like a loot effect. And it does discount your spells, which is good if the game goes long. But I think this is probably not the best matchup where they're like turn 1 putting an initiative creature on the table. I think I cut this. Murktide's probably very solid here. I think maybe we do cut some Dazes. Because even if you're dazing, like you're going down on lands and you have to have your lands to deploy your threats. This is also one of those matchups where we could bring in Force Negation. They are going to be playing Chalice of the Void, and that's a very scary card. It's not as scary, but it shuts off a lot of our cards. Let's put it that way. And they can have Spirit Guide, so even like they may even be playing the green Spirit Guide since they're like 3-color initiative. I feel like moving these Force and Negations into the deck and taking out the Dazes. Again, I know that we're on the play, and sometimes you can get these lucky, like, oh, I'll just Daze your thing. But I feel like Force Negation stopping Chalice is pretty important. We can stop the initiative trigger with this, but it's almost always going to be a 2-for-1. If we'll still have to deal with the creature. I think we're going to try this. It was cool that we got to Ancestral, though. If you're unfamiliar with Magic, Ancestral Recall, the first most broken card, generally regarded as the most powerful Magic card ever printed, and we've got like something functionally similar. I don't like putting back Murktide Region, but we are pretty far from using it. Also, Murktide eats all of our lessons out of our graveyard, so I only put 2 in there, and it was reluctant, but I didn't feel that we had enough threats. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to island, and I'm probably going to end step accumulated wisdom. If okay, they mulled a 5. Unfortunately, the way that caverns works is they do get like a spell that's uncounterable before you really get a window to waste the caverns. But I will plan to waste caverns. I think that's this, like with this hand, that's definitely enemy number 1. I'm gonna hope that mulling to 5 like caused them to not have a super explosive hand, because I am gonna need a few turns to set up here. Once upon a time, I always let this resolve. If you have a strong argument why this should be countered, let me know. We could have like dazed that, for example, if we had daze in our deck, but I took it out. Forest, pass. No reason to crack this. I'm just going to draw. Okay, Planisphere. I think I play that out. We can protect it. It's going to grow with our interaction. We're taking ourselves off Hydroblast, but we have double force up. All right, we get a hero token. This witch. They do a lot of damage to themselves through Tomb. And of course, giving us the initiative and letting us hit them really hard. Trinisphere. I mean, I think it's worth countering this. I think we're going to get off the... I mean, but if we're going to counter these things, we do kind of want to accumulate wisdom. They're not presenting red. I'm just going to exile red. I'll keep this force around. It's more flexible. So this buffs this. Yeah, I mean, like we would never really be able to use these forces if that resolved. There's the fantasy of being able to trap them under their own Trinisphere. But like usually they just won't play it if they think that's a real risk. I'm going to go ahead and do this now. See if I can find a land drop. I didn't find a land drop. Of these cards, I think Abandoned Attachment is probably the best because it puts another lesson in the yard. Stormchaser Talent does put a body on the table. Next turn. And the great thing about Astrologian Planisphere is almost always they kill a creature, so you can just equip something else with it. And this gives us a body to equip. I think we should probably take the Stormchaser Talent here. So these go in the bottom. Unfortunately, it would be great if they went in the yard. We'll hit for 3. We'll pass. And pretty soon this will be bigger than anything they can produce. They could be playing Solitude. I think they're probably playing Fury because I saw Broadside. And generally Broadside, like you want to be playing Fury with that. Because you can like just pitch cast the Fury, wipe their board, and then throw. It's really brutal. I think we do force this because I don't have a guarantee that I'm going to draw another card. I think I'm just going to go all in on attacking them here. And I'll just use the Stormchaser Talent and then I'll waste them. They may be waiting for me to waste because they have another land. They're down to 4 cards over there. I think it's safe to go ahead and waste. I could wait a turn cycle on the waste. I think I'm going to wait a turn cycle on the waste just because like I'm pretty close to regrowing something. It's hard. What I could do is I could attack with this, leave this 4/4, and then equip this to diversify our threats a little bit. I think I like that. Yeah, I'm going to do that. And if they present a big initiative creature, I mean, we have a 5/5 that can, like, they'll have to block or they'll just give us the initiative right back. Okay. They have a Wasteland of their own. Hopefully they fire that off because I don't really care. They have the initiative guy. Under Mountain Adventurer. So the best thing we could do is just draw like a cantrip. And then we could attack with both of these. If we draw a Brainstorm, like you get 2 +1/+1 counters on it. It's like really insane. This Astrologian Planisphere is a cracked card. I can go get another thing and then I can just put one of these in my hand if I just draw a brick. This, if like I just, yeah, this is actually a pretty bad draw. But I'm going to get a land when I take the initiative, which I presume is about to happen. And I'll just put something into my hand so I have a card to pitch to force. Okay, we have the initiative. Get my island. Play this out. I am going to regrow Accumulate Wisdom. Okay, and then they can attack. I'm not going to give them back the initiative here. They're going to have to take it through casting something. Like I'll definitely try to defend this. This could be Broadside. I'll force it. I'll force it. This grows our Otter. Now, they're actually dead if I just attack back. So I can let them attack. No. Because this is Vigilance. I'm going to let it through. If I let it through, they get to Forge and then I don't have good attacks, I'm going to block. All right, we're going to forge onto this. I mean, they're almost, if I forge, they're forced to block it. I think that's the play. Then they don't have an immediate means to get it back, like to get back the initiative other than having a broadside. I will waste their Wasteland just to reduce their options here. I'm going to go ahead and draw for turn first. Accumulate Wisdom. Not terrible. So what I could do, I don't think there's any merit in equipping this. This is already huge. I could find a Dismember. I think I'll just accumulate Wisdom first. Okay, I can just play Astral Legends Planisphere to get a second creature to chump for another turn cycle. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and do that. And I can actually equip both of them onto that later if I need to. But I'm going to attack for 7 here, and they're going to be forced to block. Okay. That was a good trade. And the conservative thing might be to waste here. But I don't care if they take the initiative back now, because they're like almost certainly not going to have a blocker to stop my dude. They need the Fury. Okay, so they could have another one of these. They could play it, attack, Fury, kill this by throwing the Fury at this. And then I wouldn't be able to come back. But instead we won. Yeah, they had an out though. It's a scary matchup. All right. So now we have to play on the draw. I think we keep it as is. I'm optimistic. We haven't seen Octopus form yet, but I think it's going to be good in this matchup because we can like potentially attack. Like you can imagine how good it would have been in that situation. Like they think they're getting a crackback and suddenly we've got this 1/1 or we've got like this bigger version of the creature that just attacked them and it's blocking now and it's hexproof from there on out. Like if they had Fury, they wouldn't be able to Fury because that's a sorcery speed thing. I think this is good. Let's run it. Again, I think this is an unfavorable matchup. Our deck is designed to do well against combo and tempo decks, I think. This is... I don't like this hand. I want to force. These mercs are dead, basically. Like, there's a decent chance they just never come online before we're dead. You want them in your deck to draw them mid-game, but you don't want to, and you don't want 2 of them in your opening. That's why I'm only playing 2. Okay, my opponent mulls. I mull. I think, sadly, this is a keep. Because we can stop their initial stuff and then hopefully draw. Because I can cast Dismember off Wasteland. I'm going to put back a Force. And Abandoned Attachments might allow me to discard a Force. It's also possible to get into a situation where we need to Force 3 times in a row. It's also possible that they play Cavern and we have to waste that. We don't have any mana at all. It's risky. But my belief is like they start strong and you need to be ready to stop them. So I'm going to keep... I will put back this because this is the hardest to cast. No, I'll put... I mean, it's possible we do need to Force 3 times in a row. But they're always going to be 2 for 1s. But they could be 2 for 2s if they have like a Lotus Petal. Also, this isn't a... not only is this a lesson, but I think this sets us up to potential... Yeah, I'll put back the Force. Because... if we get enough lessons, then we can start ancestraling and we can recoup the fact that we had to... Oh, Chancellor of the Annex. Brutal. Oh no. Are we screwed? I think we're screwed. Chancellor of the Annex stops whatever we're about to cast. I could double force. Don't make me double force my entire hand away. I can't stop that. They still have 2 cards in hand. They were not only able to get the Chancellor bubble, but they were also able to put it under a freaking Mox. That's brutal. Well, they named Dismember. I can't even cast it because of this. I think it's just, it's too bad. Like, they have to have something else in their hand to cast. They're almost certainly going to name Dismember here. And then, but we do have a Wasteland up, so we could pay for the bubble and force their next spell. I think we have to let them name Dismember here. Also, if they manage to find a Wasteland, which, how crazy is it they're playing a 3-color deck that plays Ancient Tomb and Wasteland? That's so greedy. And freaking City of Traders. How are they not getting mana screwed all the time? Maybe they are, but like that mana base seems incredibly greedy. Like usually I just play red-white. I don't think the green is worth the splash, but they're really heavy on initiative creatures. They should name Dismember here. They do. All right. All right. So lucky. Well, this can't be wasted. I'm not going to be wasting them. So now they knew what I drew for turn. As long as their next card is not City or Caverns, I think we're okay. But if their next card is Caverns, I think we're going to lose. It's not Caverns. Okay, good. I am going to counter that. I am going to pitch this Abandon. I could pitch Brainstorm. I could just discard this Dismember and try to get stronger than it. Because we stopped the bubble. They're hellbent. They used a lot of resources there. Now they can attack us for 3. I'm seriously tempted to waste this because that just like takes away so much momentum and reduces their likelihood of like right now they could rip really just more of these and their Dungeoneer, but both of those are extremely strong. Let's see what we draw. Hydroblast. That doesn't do anything here, unfortunately. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep this Wasteland around. And I'll just abandon attachments in their end step. If I find one more, I could abandon it. Like if I don't need to force, abandon it. Like, not sure. Sorry, I'm like really struggling with what to do here. We're taking chunks of 3 here. Their deck is almost all like creatures and like maybe a few sorceries. They actually found something they can cast. Man, I do not like the idea of countering this. If I find a land, it'll be okay. Gosh, it's really bad for me. Because I could abandon attachments here, discard the Dismember, draw 2 cards, see whether there's something better to pitch than Dismember. I do want to get this into my yard. Okay, Storm Chaser's Talent is something we can do, but we do need to force, unfortunately. So we'll play Storm Chaser Talent out. We have a 3rd land. I can waste them next turn and play Storm Chaser Talent. We've got a lesson in the yard. All right. Octopus Form. Okay. This actually means we can trade with this, which I'm here for. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and waste this now. And I am going to just trade for this. It seems like a weak play, but they are actually like probably much less able to cast spells than we are at this point. Because like they're a 3-color deck, they have 2 white mana. I need to stop taking damage for sure. They could have like a plow, which would be tragic. Because this is kind of like the problem with auras. It's the problem we're experiencing here. So we get the trigger. Do you have the plow? You'll 2-for-1 me with your plow if you have it. But like, what are the odds you draw that card? It does suck that I'm throwing this away, but I do need to stop this thing. Now I can Dismember again if I draw it, and I'll still actually have a little bit of life to use. Okay. It's crazy that they're still drawing cards that like they haven't drawn a single card they can't cast yet. But that is going to start happening. I have faith. Another Storm Chaser Talent. Let's do it. We've got a creature on the table. We've got 2 lessons in the yard. 1 more, and we're cooking. Unfortunately, this card like does nothing, basically. If you don't have a card to discard, it's pretty weak. Petal, sure. Okay, now there are a lot of live draws for them. Planisphere, that's a card. Triggers come across and start hitting them. And again, we're just hoping to dodge Dungeoneer. Or I guess really any of their initiative creatures would be pretty devastating right now. We could Kamikaze to get a land. If they do find an initiative creature, I'm hoping they draw a Fury or something that they can't cast. Okay. Looks like we might have caught a break here. A moment's reprieve. This card is terrible right now. I have to wait a turn. If you don't discard, you don't draw cards. You just get the prowess triggers. I'm not there yet. Like I have faith that like I'm gonna have some card that I can use for filtering here. I can always do this if like I absolutely need to, depending on what they do here, but I don't think they're gonna have like a flash blocker. I'm gonna pass. We're just doing damage. We're chilling. Octopus Form was very good though. Okay, and they're all right. This is great for us. Now, whatever we draw, we are gonna abandon attachments. I'm sorry, Storm Chaser Talent. I would like to cast you, but I would really like to draw a bunch of cards and proc all my homies here. And then this is going to be an additional proc. All right, we've picked up a Force Negation for our trouble. Not bad. All right, we're going to hit it for 5. Force Negation may do something here, but most of their must counter spells are creatures at this point. But we can Storm Chaser Talent next turn. We do have 3 lessons, so Ancestral Recall is on. Wow. Oh, yes. Their mana base. And the fact that they need a ton of mana. Maybe they're just playing a ton of lands to support the fact that they're 3 colors with Wasteland and all that stuff. Let's get in there. They are about to take a lot of damage. I'm feeling pretty safe now. Force Negation further buffs both of these creatures. They're not quite dead. They're at 1. Okay, I feel very confident that we're going to get this now. I'm not sure what they could have. All right, they're going to make us kill them. I love initiative as an archetype. I know people complained about it for a long time. I think it's fair and it's fun. And if you're looking for a deck that, like, this is one of the better aggro archetypes because it has that range. Okay, it looks like they are going to try to do something here. Again, Fury could still be good. They scooped. All right, good games. You found 5 spells, I found 5 lands. Yeah, that happens. I'm playing 18 lands. That is probably part of it. I imagine my opponent's probably playing at least 30 mana sources. If you include the Petals, the Spirit Guides, all the lands, the Moxen. Round 2, we're 1-0. We're up against an unknown opponent with our budget Storm Chaser Talent Boomerang deck that has a bunch of lessons jammed into it. I'm having a great time. This hand is fine. We pitched the Force to Merc. Or we pitched the Merc to Force, rather. And this may look like, oh, it's a 1-lander. You got to throw that back. No, you don't. Actually, this deck is great at functioning on even 1 land. But we do want to get to 2 so we can cast things like Murktide later. But we'll get there in our own timetable. What we really want is just lots of interaction to get us through the early turns, which this hand has in spades. We're on the play again, which is huge. Our opponent's mold to 5. They're completely unknown, which a lot of people getting into Legacy make the mistake of, oh, I know, I'll play Oops All spells. But you don't really learn anything if you're playing Oops All spells. 4 cards. Okay. Like, my advice to you is if you want to get into Legacy, play a deck like this. Or play Mono Black. I've got some Mono Black videos. Those will teach you like the fundamentals of combat, sequencing, mulligan decisioning. And then this is like a little bit more advanced because you have to make a lot of decisions around like threat evaluation when you have counter magic. And then cantrips, of course, difficult to really get good at. Like maybe I'll create a series. Bosch and Roll did a series called Wizard School, but it's like 10 years old. But he basically talks about how he uses the 3 key cards of Legacy, which are Wasteland, Ponder, and Brainstorm. And I mean, like, you know, Force is also, but like specifically like Days is a science in itself. It may seem like deceptive, like, oh, you just counter whatever they put on the stack. And in this situation, we might actually do that because they have mold so deep and we don't have a second land. I'm not going to counter that. So they're doing something degenerate over there. Okay, they're just passing. Right. So I think this might be a Brainstorm. Actually, I think I'm just going to Storm Chaser Talent again. I've still got 2 points of interaction up, and this ups the clock. Because Oops All spells, you can beat their opening hand, and then they can rebuild. A lot of them play like Reanimate and stuff like that, so they can just reroll if you force their key spell. Next turn, I'll Brainstorm, and I'll try to find like something else. This is a Daze for sure. They use their Spirit Guide to cast this. If they use another, then I will force, and I will probably die, but you don't let this resolve. You do have to go after the mana sometimes. Because a lot of times they'll sequence like a discard after this. Also, they may put like a Cabal or a Pact of Negation on the stack, which you let resolve, and then you force on top of that. They just let it go. Well, that's pretty big deal. Yeah, they just scooped to that. Okay, so I'm going to trust that they're on Oops All spells. Because like other fast combo doesn't play Elvish Spirit Guide, Oops All spells played it. Force of Negation, get in the deck. There's a reason we're playing 4. Consign to Memory is okay. Not fantastic here. I mean, you can consign like certain triggers. I feel like Gran-Gran actually might be all right because she can help us sift through our deck and she's cheap. I'm going to take out Mercs. Take out Dismember completely. They may have a creature juke, but I'm not scared of a creature juke. I've got Boomerang basics and like it's hard for them to deploy. Like they're like Dark Ritualing out their Beargoyfs and stuff and you're just boomeranging back and then they don't have the mana to use it. I don't cut lands in this matchup generally. When you're a tempo deck, you could go down to 17 land. And note that like we're unwastable. Like this is not like playing Delver where you have to worry about getting into a Wasteland fight and losing, which if you want to watch me do that, I did that. I tried a blue-red version of this deck basically that was playing Volks instead of Islands. And yeah, that's real. That does happen a lot that, you know, 2 Delver decks get into a Wasteland fight. And there's a saying when both players are wastelanding each other, like one of them is wrong. We don't actually need that many ways to close the game. I'm actually thinking about taking out the Planispheres in favor of bringing in more consigns. Yeah, I think that's fine. I mean, actually closing the game, like a single Storm Chaser, they're not going to be able to answer it. They just don't interact with your stuff. It's kind of a lame deck. I know everybody's here like, of course, Oops, All Spells is a lame deck. Yeah, it's just basically like, does my combo work? It's a force check deck, as they used to call it. This is a force hand. We do have Storm Chaser talent. We've got Brainstorm to find more action. This is more action, more offensive than I hoped for, but I'm not going to complain considering all my action pitches to force. I'm going to hope that they mull deep, and I'll just keep this force hand and hope it's enough. I'm going to keep it. Last time, a single interaction spell was enough to collapse them. Now, a really experienced Oops All Spells player is pretty scary because they've, like if they're a good, well-rounded legacy player and they're just choosing to play Oops, then they understand like the philosophy of tempo decks especially are dangerous for them. So what we're going to hope is they have a slow start. Because if they have Pact plus the combo, we're dead. But we'll get to be on the play game 3. But what I'd like to do here is not deploy Storm Chaser's talent, but rather deploy this, and then I can brainstorm for additional counter magic. Okay, this means that the game's going to end here. I'm not going to counter the pacts because now I just counter the spell. And then they die to the pact. So unfortunately, like this is a non-game. I'm going to assume that they need this mana. There's exiling a Spirit Guide to play this, and they're going to use that to Dark Ritual. If I just force this, they never get the black mana. Unfortunately, they are going to have some sort of counter spell, but I'll just go ahead and force it here. I could let them go deeper with the Dark Ritual. I probably should, but they're dying to the pact anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And they probably have the other pact. Whoa, that did it. That was a quick round. All right. So again, friends don't let friends play Oops All Spells is what I'll say. There are so many other budget options that are just not as heavily publicized, but are way better, frankly. Like, I'm not arguing that what we're playing here is like a tier legacy deck, but I will argue that Mono Black is very strong. Mono Black aggro and Mono Blue tempo is quite reasonable. And of course, you've got the white decks that are quite powerful. Not as good against combo as the black and blue decks, but still viable and still under $1,000 bucks. All right, round 3, we're 2-0. We're up against Testacular, who mains Cradle Control. I like just opening Gran-Gran here. I mean, it like really puts our cards on the table. I can't believe we're on the play again. We're so lucky. We do have Dismember for their creature. It's definitely the strongest card in our hand right now. Okay, I'm going to keep. And again, the beauty of this deck is you can keep one landers. Gran-Gran, when she attacks, can discard this card, which sucks, and is only in our deck because it is a lesson. And I wanted to make sure we had a high enough density of lessons. I do think Gran-Gran is a stronger opening. And then let's say they throw something in front of Gran-Gran. We have Octopus Form for her. Let's say they try to counterattack. Gran-Gran can go on. I'm sorry. This is the first time I've ever said Gran-Gran. I haven't watched the show. All I know is this is like the boogeyman of Standard right now. It's so crazy that some little old lady who like moved halfway around the world to get away from her some courtier that wanted to marry her and lives out in like, I guess like Siberia equivalent or something like that. It's just hilarious to me that she's like the strongest creature in Legacy right now. or in Standard right now. And I've never seen a Legacy. I've never seen Gran-Gran in Legacy. To my knowledge, this will be the first instance of Gran-Gran being in a Legacy League video of anybody. But it won't be the last. I think there probably is something here. I'm just playing her as a one of. Once upon a time. All right, don't fatal push her yet. I don't think they play a lot of... This is just a... Yeah, Ignoble Hierarch. I might dismember that. You generally... Like, it probably is worth dismembering her. Dismembering this. I really need to draw land. Okay, Force is not terrible. Let's go ahead and attack with Gran-Gran. So when I attack, I get to discard Abandoned Attachment. I think I brainstorm for a land here. I could whiff. And of course, Gran-Gran, being the tough little old lady that she is, has 2 toughness. Which, if I were a Magic card, I'm like a pretty buff dude. Like, I hit the weights a lot. I swim. I'm in great shape. I would probably be a 1-1 by Magic the Gathering standards. But Gran-Gran, for some reason, they decided to make her a 1-2. Okay, so I'm going to brainstorm here. This is not good. We whiffed on land. I mean, the good news is I guess we have plenty of lessons. It's just the lessons we have aren't, like, relevant to the situation in hand. I guess I hide the Dismember just in case they thought sees me. I'm likely to Dismember next turn. I mean, like, think of all, like, the really buff knights and stuff from, like, the old Magic the Gathering, like the old sets. You see this really jacked, like, warrior, and he's like a 1-1, right? And Gran-Gran's a 1-2. Again, it may just be my ignorance of the lore. I felt the same way with Delighted Halfling. I thought it was ridiculous that a little halfling would be 2 toughness when a human is only 1 toughness. But somebody pointed out halfling, hobbits are really tough and don't wear shoes. Maybe that's the source of their 2 toughness, is just not wearing shoes everywhere. Realistically, what am I pitching to Force here? Well, I think it's maybe Planisphere. It's got to be one of these excess octopus forms, though. Yeah, I'll just put the Planisphere back, and I will put back another octopus form, I guess. And yeah, we'll pass with no further play. It's pretty pathetic. I can daze with confidence, though, knowing that I'm not going to draw land. Gran-Gran will help me cycle through these. I mean, she's already done pretty decent work. She's already done half of a careful study. Oh, there's the Cradle. Badger Mole Cub. This is a force of will if I've ever seen one. It's going to double the amount of mana that Guy's Cradle produces, and I don't like that. I might actually... There's no way that pitching Stormchaser's talent is correct here, is it? I think it has to be Octopus form. Come on, cast something into my daze so I can do something with my daze. Yes! Small victory. I will daze that. It seems absurd. I don't care how absurd it is. You don't understand my hand. You don't know my pain. All right. I think Gran-Gran goes ahead and discards this Octopus form. Then I probably sadly dismember this just to try to mana screw them. I think I am going to do that. It may seem completely dumb and absurd. The other option is I just Storm Chaser talent and start getting on the offensive. But, like, they have so little mana production. Let's do it. Can't believe I'm doing this. Okay. Yeah. We've got nothing going on our side of the table, but you only have 2 mana. Hopefully that is a little bit of an impediment. Bird of Paradise. Well, that is extra mana for you, sir. All right. Ignoble Hierarch. And now they're back up to 4 mana. My strategy of denying the mana is not working. Come on, land. I think this is just Storm Chaser into Boomerang Basics. Then Planisphere becomes only 1 mana. Actually, let's think about this. I think I'm just going to attack first. And then if I discard the Boomerang Basics or some other lesson I draw, then that does make the Astrologist Planisphere cheaper. I think I'm going to do that. I'll discard a lesson here. Oh, this is the perfect lesson to discard. Boom! Gran-Gran is getting her bonus going. I do want to get Planisphere out this turn cycle. I'll Planisphere first, and then I'll Storm Chaser talent. I think we're probably just dead, sadly, to, like, Natural Order for Atraxa. But I guess technically I can bounce Atraxa back to hand and they can't easily recast it. It's not the end of the world. It's crazy that that discount actually worked. Badgermole Cub. Okay, they have so much mana production. This is going to be absolutely absurd. 6 mana. No, wait. 8 mana. Holy cow. They can just Natural Order Fiend Artisan. They could just Greenstone Zenith to go get Atraxa at this point. This, they can just go get Atraxa off this. Like, we're so screwed here. I can bounce this back to hand, which takes away the ability. It doesn't count as dying, but I think last time I tried to do that, I think it might be bugged. It says, when it dies or is exiled, return it tapped to the battlefield. And I do believe that, unfortunately, Boomerang Basics does that. It's really lame. So, why are they attacking us? Oh, yeah, they get 1 point of damage in. Okay. Wow, we're actually pretty low in life, too. How did I get so low in life? Oh, I just remembered that's why. Let's draw an Ancestral Recall. Gran-Gran, can you make that happen for me? I want to do it for all the kind folks that are tuning in. Give them a show. Options. I think we're just dead to this thing, sadly. Like, think about it. Sacrifice whatever. Sacrifice this. Tap it a second time. Oh my goodness, they can actually produce even more mana than I thought. Taking this out of play just allows them to use the ability again. I can't really even attack him with Gran-Gran. I think what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and bounce this back to hand just to see. But I need to find a Dismember really badly. Dismember is free with Gran-Gran out. Oh, that's pretty good. It's not terrible. I am not going to sacrifice Gran-Gran. I don't have good attacks. This sucks. I think we're just going to die, unfortunately. Like, we're doing cool stuff, but like this, there's no way they trade here. I mean, I guess I could attack because this doesn't have vigilance or anything. Yeah. I'm just going to attack. I think they just take it. I feel like it's highly likely that she'll get the Crater Hoof this turn, and we're just dead. 6 mana in the pool. 8 mana in the pool. 9. Activate. I'm actually hoping that they get Atraxa because at least I can bounce that back. If they get the Crater Hoof, I'm just dead. So this is what I was talking about. Like, they can actually get it. Oh, it comes back into play tapped at least. Atraxa is only good for like 3 or 4 cards with their deck. This is death. Yeah, we're dead. We tried. We were on the play too. It's a bad matchup for sure. So Piracy Charm, get in the deck. That is our only kind of stack interaction spell. Daze is atrocious in this matchup in general. Gran-Gran was not atrocious there. She was quite good. The stout old lady did her thing and saved us a bunch of mana and fixed our deck. Like, that was insane, actually, how powerful she was. I like Merc here. Yeah, I don't have faith in Daze. And also, I don't want to be dazing stuff back to our hand. Let's try this. There are some triggers that are consignable, but they're not worth like 2-for-1ing yourself for. That's the thing, is like a lot of people play this like as a main deck. Oh, there's so many triggers. You can always hit something, but you're almost always like leaving a card on the table that they can like flicker later or do something with. Attack you with. Okay, this is an easy mulligan. All right, this actually works. So I think we put back the second Planisphere here. Turn 1, we just Piracy Charm their Dork, which they almost always have. Turn 2, we Planisphere. Turn 3, we Brainstorm and proc this. I could put back Accumulate Wisdom, actually. I think that's actually the right play. Because if we get both the Planispheres out and then we Brainstorm, we've got some serious damage on the table. I'm going to keep this. Buy Accumulate Wisdom. And we're almost certainly just going to draw excessive lands now. That's just how the variance works. I think I had a video where like I'd drawn like 8 lands or something like that, and then and with my 18 land deck, and then I Brainstormed, and it was just 3 more lands. That was not a fun league. Like that, it was a fun league, but that was not the fun part of the league. That was pretty miserable, and that happened recently. It still traumatizes me a week later. Okay, once that resolves, almost every dork in their deck dies to Piracy Charm. I'm really excited about Piracy Charm just as a cheap removal spell that's super flexible. Blue doesn't have a lot of removal options. Yep, I'm going to kill that. This Piracy Charm is like very excited. It's going to commit some acts of high piracy on the high seas. You know, this guy, I have no idea like why it works the way it does. Like, I don't get the flavor of this. You're a pirate now. Dead Pirate Roberts. Okay, let's draw another Piracy Charm. That's not bad. I mean, it's like almost a guaranteed 1-for-1 against their deck. They could Badger Mold Cub here, which would be annoying, but like Wasteland, the main card they want to use Badger Mold Cub, does nothing against my deck. I laugh in the face of Wasteland. I want another land so I can Piracy Charm and play the Astral Legends Planisphere, and then Fiend Artisan is a 2/2, unfortunately. Well, I'm going to go ahead and just play this out. And if you want to trade with my hero that's coming in, that I am all for that. All right, they don't. Not surprising. So Force of Will grow it if we need to force pitching Piracy Charm. And I will force most things that enable this. They're probably going to go get the Arbor, Dryad Arbor. No? Okay, this is going to be a tasty force here. That is a Green Sun Zenith, which is going to grow my ladies here, my witches. And it doesn't count as a creature to buff the Fiend Artisan, which is nice. Fiend Artisan doesn't have good attacks. Such a cool card. It might be worth clipping this. Let's see what we draw. Brainstorm. We're going to get a ton of power here. I should just yield to these. Dismember is sick. I don't need this Merc. I could Dismember and Boomerang Basics, but not in this turn. I'll put this back. I think I'm just going to Dismember now and waste them. And I think that'll be the game because like we've got so much power on the table. Snuff out. That's fine. I guess I could have wasted before and turned off the ability to do that. I'm going to do this now. I guess they might have a second snuff out. All right, bye-bye. Let's hit you for 5. Next turn we can re-equip this. We have Boomerang Basics. We can just Boomerang Basics this to hand. But I probably want to Boomerang Basics their blocker out of the way. White. It's a 4/4. Okay, I think they might have to chump block here. All right, so we have a 5/5. They have a 4/4. Trying to think if there's anything they can do. I think I just bounce it out of the way and get them down to 1. I'm not going to get fancy here. I've got a Merc coming, and they probably won't be able to answer that. They might be able to. This is just like us being on the play. I think we could have easily lost this had we been on the draw. Okay, what is this? Another white. It's still smaller than my attacker here. Do you have another snuff out? You can't cast it. That is fine. I'm not going to mess around. I'm just going to get you to concede here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Full-size boy coming in. Bigger than your creatures. All right, we got that one. We actually got a game on this guy. This guy does nothing but play this deck. He's played it so much. He's really good at it. And we beat him in an unfavorable matchup on the play. Let's see if we can do it again. So Piracy Charm was very good there. Yeah, I think we just run it back. Hopefully we get lucky like we did that game. We were very lucky there. I mean, if a hand can do it, it's probably this one. This is a keep. So I can open Storm Chaser Talent and start pressuring them. I have the Boomerang Basic Storm Chaser Talent combo, which is quite good. I can waste them. Hierarch. I guess the question is, do I just want to focus on clearing this first? Because they stick like a... Oh, yeah, I think I do just focus on clearing it. And I'll play defensively initially. Oops. I don't want to give it Alanlock. That wouldn't make sense. I want to kill it. All right. And then we can kill the next thing. But we are stocking up their graveyard. And both White and the Fiend Artisan use the graveyard as a source of power. Okay. That might mean they have Snuff Out. It might also mean they have a White. I mean, this is going to be a 3/3. I think this is a force. It's pretty strong. I'm going to pitch this Piracy Charm. I could pitch a Brainstorm. Like, I don't think, like, if they had Mana Dorks. Yeah, I'm going to pitch the Brainstorm. Hopefully I draw an island so I can do the Storm Chaser Talent and Boomerang Basics in the same turn cycle. But I'm probably, like, reluctantly just going to waste them here. Yeah, because this, like, does little in our deck, frankly. Almost all the mana we need is colored mana. I should have actually done this because they may snuff out here, which would suck. I should have just wasted before I did this. It was a bad sequence, and I'm going to get punished. That's what they're thinking right now. They're like, should I go ahead and snuff this out? Yeah, they did it. Well, that sucks. We have to hope that they get stalled out, and then that we can just boomerang and redo it. But, like, I've already punted. If they have a Mana Dork and they don't have a land, that would be great. They have a land, but it's... Oh, Mana Dork? Green Sun. Okay, I'll have to kill whatever comes out of this, and we're just chilling. I would be hitting them had I sequenced properly. Yeah, this is just a force play, I think. Keep us alive to draw another card. Again, we would be hitting for 2 in the face right there. It would be really good. So I have to acknowledge that, like, if I lose, it's not necessarily because the deck is bad. It's because I'm bad. Okay, this is good. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to go ahead and do this. Boomerang Basics. Wait. Yeah, I think it just makes sense to go ahead and Boomerang Basics first. This back to hand. I drew a Brainstorm, which is nice. Boomerang Basics is so good. I love this combo. All right. Come on, keep whiffing. Yes. All right. I do want a Storm Chaser Talent. And I guess I could Brainstorm first. See if I find a shuffle. Because I wouldn't mind shuffling these away. These cards suck. They're so bad. I know they're there for a reason. Accumulate Wisdom. So actually, if we used all these, we would get to Ancestral, which is not bad. I think Piracy Charm is potentially really good because it can also buff the creature. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put back the Accumulate Wisdom. And I want to get the Storm Chaser out. Like, so there are 2 ways to go. One, we abandon attachments, discarding abandoned attachments. We've got 3 things in our hand. Yeah, I can't put this back. I want to ride that freaking gravy train. It's too good. So we put back Piracy Charm. We put back Storm Chaser Talent. Sorry. And then I am going to Ancestral next turn. Get our island here. I can do this at instant speed if I want to, but I want to see what I draw. Okay. And, oh, that's pretty damn good. And next turn we're Ancestraling. And we can Boomerang Basics and do other shenanigans. Please just whiff. If they find, like, even a single card, like, they can start doing pretty nasty things to us. We're getting so lucky here. This is crazy. Well, you don't put Ancestral Recall in your deck to not cast it. 3 cards. Let's do it. Land. I think we just need to respect this. We'll hit for 3 here. Wow. I can't believe I'm beating Testacular on a signature freaking deck. This is insane. Like, we just got so freaking lucky this league. Like, being on the play all 3 games. And we have a Piracy Charm to deal with, like, the smaller creatures. I have a Force for the bigger creature. If they snuff out, they're doing so at their own peril. This is a Force. Don't want to deal with this. I think the pitch is Piracy Charm. If I draw another one of these abandoned attachments, I would love to discard one of these excess lands. Octopus Form. See, they're at 8. There's no way I can kill them this turn. I think I hold this in case they try to remove it somehow. So I'm going to play this out. This buffs. I'm going to play a Giant Merc out. I'll go ahead and go to combat first. See what they do. Like, if they have snuff out, I want them to die. Okay. They didn't snuff it out. Let's go ahead and make a big Merc. 1. Leaving lots of these other type of cards in our graveyard here. So I'm not playing Tamiyo at all in this deck, which is really a breath of fresh air. I'm so sick of playing Tamiyo. And as a result, I don't have to worry about, like, removing stuff that I might otherwise be able to recur because I can't recur it anyway. I can't imagine a scenario where they get out of this. But I think this is just octopus form here. Come on, don't concede. Check out my beautiful octopus form. I'm playing this standard draft card. Okay, I've waited for about 2 minutes on this fetch. I'm not sure what they're doing over there. They are maybe multi-queuing? I don't know. All right, so we'll grab this. Octopus form. Okay, we got it. We're 3-0 with lessons, mono blue lessons. This is a deck, people. All right, we're up against the Doomsday Gamer with a Gran-Gran hand. We do have Force Blue card, in all seriousness. Gran-Gran has this octopus form that you can discard. It's probably meaningless. Dismember, probably meaningless. I'm going to keep this, though. Let's say hypothetically they're on something else. This is a great hand. We do have the, the Force they try to turbo us. A lot of times they have a daze anyway. They'll have Dark Ritual and Doomsday in 16% of their hands, roughly. Okay, they're passing. So they are about to get the shock of their life when Gran-Gran appears. Challenger appears. It's Gran-Gran. I'm sorry. Like, Universes Beyond, like, people complain about it. Like, this is so funny. It's so ridiculous. Like, my favorite card is It'll Quench Ya. Like, that's literally the name of a Magic card. Yeah. Like, YA. It'll Quench Ya. I promise I'm not complaining. Like, I think it's hilarious. Like, people who are anti-Universe Beyond, don't take it too seriously. Like, it's a children's card game thing. Pokimoki had this great kind of an like essay where he talked about it and stuff. And just there's nothing we can do about it as players. I'm not going to convince, like all the the EDH players to stop buying Universe Beyond sets, and I'm going to continue to buy the cards that are actually legacy playable out of there. But man, is it weird to be turn 1 Island Gran-Gran in legacy. So our opponent has pondered, kept, pondered again, so that they're really sculpting over there, and I should really focus on them instead of saying Gran-Gran a whole bunch and laughing. Okay, so we do have more interaction here. I would love to find a brainstorm to shuffle away this Doomsday, which I believe is going to suck, but actually attacking with Gran-Gran will achieve the same thing. Let's loot. I will keep the Octopus form. Yeah, I'll keep the Octopus. Let's take a look at their list. I really don't think they play any creatures. They play 2 Thassa's Oracles. Okay, so hear me out. Octopus form is unlikely to do a damn thing other than be a blue card to pitch the Force. I think we just discard it because it helps our lessons plan. Our lessons plan. All the teachers in the house represent. Maybe Gran-Gran's a teacher. I haven't seen the show. Somebody was telling me it's actually really good and I should watch it with my kids. So maybe I will check it out. They've also corrected my pronunciation of a lot of the names. Gran-Gran, to my knowledge, is not a Chinese name, but like I'm always going to, if I think it's a Mandarin language name, I'm going to pronounce it with the Mandarin. Like I'll look up the characters and I'll find out exactly how to say it and I'll say it in Mandarin. If it's a Japanese language name, I'll look up the characters. I'll find out how to say it. The English dubs probably take some extreme liberties with pronunciation. I'm going to pronounce it the way that the manga artist intended, assuming that this is based off of manga. I presume it is. Yeah, I think this is just play Strand, and I hate to fish with thin. Maybe we don't. I'll just play on an island. It's possible I do have to use the mana, and then I don't know how I would have to use the mana, but if I do, LED, sure. Is this just Storm we're up against? Doomsday does play this card. Do you want to discard your entire hand to cast it? And in my humble opinion, you always bounce, even if you have the mana, because they could daze back. And it doesn't really matter. It's not super material. We got the Force out of their hand. And now, you're bringing on the heartbreak. Sorry, friend. Can you answer that? By the way, Def Leppard is awesome. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Street Wraith Cycle. They could crack LED here. They're doing it. Okay. They're paying. Unfortunately, I have to pitch freaking Force here. I hope they don't have like Flusterstorm is the card they ripped there. I guess I could have actually Forced with it on the stack. That would have been more cautious. They wore through all my defenses. I've literally got Gran-Gran on the table. I'll burn off this mana. Gran-Gran's seen some things. Like this crazy Doomsday thing, and then all of a sudden crisis averted. The guy got really confused twice. Then he cracked his LED. Okay. Let's just attack. I just want to see what I draw. Like this abandoned attachment is actually like decent because we have so many lands in our hand. Oh my goodness. Terrible card. All right. I mean, it's a great card, but not in this context. Please just chill out my opponent and play a Tomio so I can Thoughtseize it. They're actually like, she's doing real damage to them. They're at 12. Is Gran-Con going to be Grand Wing-Con? Gran-Gran going to be the Wing-Con is what I was about to say. Okay, so next turn, I am just abandoning attachments immediately. Well, I'll attack with Gran-Gran first. Oh, wow. Maybe I'll abandon the attachments twice. Let's come in with Gran-Gran. I would love the Ancestral Recall to refill my hand since I had to dump the entire thing. Planisphere is a plan. I'm going to pitch this. I am going to abandon the attachments first. I'll just abandon the attachments, abandon the attachments. If they daze this, it'll be very disappointing. But not that bad. Yeah, I'll do that. Oh my goodness. Land. But we have Merc, which is probably faster than winning with Astral Illusions Planisphere. But I am a little spooked because Doomsday is a 1-card combo and they have all the mana. If they just luck into finding the other Doomsday, one of the other 3 Doomsdays, we're really screwed. Okay. It has begun. Oh no. Why Dark Ritual? Oh, they're playing around days? All right. I don't think we can win. So they don't have any cards in their hand. They draw Brainstorm. They brainstorm. They draw LED and a bunch of other crap. They start cycling. They're going to be pretty low in life. Wait a second. There are 3 lessons in my yard? Okay, so what I can do is I can Planisphere and potentially equip her, but then I don't have any more spells. I mean, I just need to rip the Ancestral card. That's what my deck needs to give me. I've got 4 of them. Gran-Gran's done such hard work. She wants her grandson to Ancestral here. Yeah, I think I probably punted several times because I was just too busy joking about Gran-Gran and how absurd she was. Like, maybe daze wasn't the correct line. Maybe I should have just forced and held up the dazes. But yeah, it's tough. I definitely should have, like, I got lucky and didn't get screwed. Okay, we can figure out their pile. Let's see what we draw first. They did pass the turn pile. Of course we don't get the freaking Ancestral. We get just another land. I'm playing 18 lands. All right. I'm trying not to be salty about it, but like, I seriously, it happens like, it seems like every day. Okay. So, I mean, I guess I could just attack and get more information before I figure this out. Oh, there's the Ancestral. So I'm going to discard this land. Okay. They take a damage. They're 4. So if I Astral Illusions Planisphere, this just buffs once. If I draw another one, I might want to draw more. I'm trying to think of like, okay, let's take a look at their deck now. I like to postpone this. Okay, so we know they have nothing in hand. They wouldn't put Force in the pile. I see all 4 forces. So I use Buffalo Chicken Dip, Fop. I see all 4 Brainstorms. I also see Flusterstorm, which is their defense spell of choice. Cyclers. I see Consider. I see a Thassa's Oracle, so they probably have a 2 Oracle pile. They could be playing Jace. Jace would make sense here because they have tons of mana. I don't see LED. I presume LEDs in their deck. I see all the petals. I think they have a Ponder in their pile, or they're just playing 3 Ponders. Am I miscounting? Yeah, they have a Ponder in their pile. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. And I like, just a recap, like I think I was joking about Fluster being really good, but they actually have it. So let's just count their days again. 1, 2. I don't think that's in their pile. 3, just to get a feel. Like they're on the 3 days. I think that's conventional. Okay, so I'm going to start by playing this land out, and I'm just going to immediately fetch because I just do not want to draw more lands. I'm going to thin a little bit. My life total doesn't matter. I'm going to do this first. This is going to be a better win con than Merc because it's cheaper. Now we're going to Ancestral Recall. This gets bigger. Nice. Should we Ancestral Recall again? They're not going to have days. I could just wait. Do this during their turn. Yeah, Ancestral Recall. It's a heck of a card, believe it or not. And we're going to get to do it twice here. Because Gran-Gran plus this, they're dead on board. I mean, I think they're just dead on board if I force this. Pitch my Merc. Good game. Gran-Gran getting it done against Doomsday. Doomsday is a pretty brutal deck. It's pretty good. I will just Ancestral to style. Why not? Yeah, I can like... That was a pretty bad Ancestral. I could waste them and daze their stuff. Yeah, that was cool. Gran-Gran! The one of Gran-Gran. Like, if I were an EDH player, which I would never do because I don't want to spend 75% of my time sitting waiting for other people to finish their turns, I would definitely consider playing Gran-Gran as my hero. Or my, whatever it's called, champion commander. I just would like to have her like accompanying me, like sitting like slabber. You know, the EDH players always get their fancy slabs, and then they've got like this giant slab with the commander in there. Just having Gran-Gran waving at me so gingerly, wishing me well. Force negation comes in. A note on consign, because people often bring it up in the comments. Yes, I understand. It stops the trigger. Our opponent is playing Flusterstorm. Does that change anything? Like, I don't think this is good enough. I don't think they're going to do a creature juke. I'm definitely taking out my dismembers. If they do a creature juke against Gran-Gran.deck, I have lots of stuff that can kill them. They said, cool deck. Thanks. Okay. So I'm complimenting their build. A lot of people like really customize their build. There is no one list. And to my knowledge, there's never been a one list of Doomsday. There are common things that you usually find, like the exactly 3 days. Oh, they said, love what you're doing in the no reserve list budget space. All right. I'm having a great time with this league. Opponents have all been chill. I think we go back in. Is there anything else? Like Octopus Form doesn't do anything. I feel like Consign is better than Octopus Form. I realize that it is something we can discard with Gran-Gran, but like I'm going to assume that that's like a nice to have thing. I can also consign the Fluster trigger. So there are like lots of things that we can potentially consign here. I just don't think that they're going to come after my creatures. This is a great hand. So we have the Force if they try to explode. 16% of the time they will have Doomsday into Dark Ritual into Doomsday. Some smaller percentage of the time they'll also have stack interaction on top of that. They have a very low land count. Wasteland might be a good prophylactic measure here. Unfortunately, it looks like they're going to turn one us here. There's a Barragoyf. I'm going to force this because this is like the path they've taken. I will keep Planisphere because that can get bigger if they manage to like fluster this. Okay, they daze. All right. We are in trouble. This is a 2/3, but it will grow very quickly. So forces off obviously, we're not going to be wasting their non-existent land. I think what I do here is I talent, and we're just going to sacrifice the creature, and we're going to try to get a Planisphere on the table. We could let them do one attack, but who knows how much it'll grow it. I think if we're ever going to let them successfully attack it, it's probably now. That way we can keep this around. I didn't expect a creature juke. And they may just take the creatures right back out. We'll let it hit. We'll see how many creatures they have. They may also have Bowmasters. They whiff. Barragoyf is still a 2/3. That was not bad at all. We got lucky. Boomerang Basics. We can just bounce it to hand. I think we go ahead and Planisphere and then we chomp for a turn cycle. They may daze this too. But notably, the card they're playing, Flusterstorm does not stop these types of cards. And this is why I always advocate for Spell Pierce over Flusterstorm in any situation other than you're a combo deck and you just really need to resolve your Doomsday. I can understand why Fluster is played, but I think a lot of people put it in like non-combo decks, and Fluster should only be used offensively. It's not a good defensive card, if that makes sense. Not in Legacy, in my humble opinion. Okay, they're forcing here, which is going to grow the Goyf. Oh, what do we do? I think we give him another hit. Do we? It's possible that it is correct to just Boomerang Basics and waste them. But like, if they have another Dark Rit, they can get it out again. I think I just chump here. I don't want them to get another creature. This is very passive, but like you have to understand, our long game is so much better than theirs. Their long game is terrible. But okay, now they will have the ability to redeploy. They could be playing a higher land count than typical. I'll be really scared if they play another berry. I'm not going to lie. 2 berries would be very scary. I would love to just get this on the table and actually do something with it before we have to start. But we've been behind the curve the entire time since they were on the play and they had the Dark Ritual on turn 1. Doomsday, I think we're screwed. I do not think we can win here because what they can do... Yeah. They may set up a pile where they... Okay, so here's what we're going to do. A lot of times, like this currently, if I'm not able to chump, they have a very clean line to mill their deck and then just play the Oracle from hand. So what I think I need to do is I need to waste them and I need to Boomerang Basics this back to hand and hope they can't redeploy. That, like, basically at the end of the day, I need to cheese them. That's how I'm going to win this game. Because there's no world in which we do 22 points of damage with the Astral Legends Planisphere around a Baragoyf, which will probably gain even more life. But they are going to be hellbent after this Doomsday. All right, so let's take a look. They've got their Cyclers out. I think they're going to try to win through fair combat. We can do a lane count. So they have two Underground Seas. 3, 4, 5. Is the basic island out? The basic island is out. That's a big deal. Is the Surveil Land out? Surveil Land is out. So again, I want to emphasize both the Underground Seas are out. The Swamp is out. The island is out. I don't think they're going to be able to redeploy. So let's figure out what's in their pile. So 1 petal, 2 petal, 3 petal. They have a petal in there. And they have their cavern. So we'd have to force the petal. This is going to be really hard. All 3 of their berries are out. So we waste. They have petal. They can't redeploy. They don't have their cyclers in. Let's see. I mean, they actually may have some number of Street Wraith. There's 1 Street Wraith. So usually they play 2 Street Wraith and 1 Edge. Edge is out. Let me just count the petals one more time. 1, 2, 3. Usually they play 4, and there's an LED. They could just try to turbo. Let's count the Brainstorms. All 4 forces are out. I don't see any dazes. Well, they may have gone to 2 dazes. Again, 3 dazes, yeah. Again, MTGO, please add a sort function. It's not that hard. I'm a software engineer. If you give me access to your code base, I will do that for you. Let's see. Okay, 4 Ponders. All 4 Brainstorms. I think they're on the slow train. But without lands. Okay, so here's what my strategy is. Boomerang Basics this back to hand. Waste them. Then I'll have Days Up. They should still be able to win with Petal and Caverns. So I will need to do stuff. Okay. So we have, next turn, we Astral Legends Planisphere. They just chill. They'll eventually draw a Petal. Gran-Gran. Am I going to play Gran-Gran here? I think I just Astral Legends Planisphere, and then we've got 1 lesson. They're at 11, though. I mean, it's not inconceivable we could do enough damage. We need to rip cantrips like crazy. Another Wasteland, I think, will do it. I'll let them... No, I want to cast this. because I want the counter on this. And now they don't know the information. They don't know it's just Gran-Gran over here and not like force blue card. Okay, T-minus 3 turns to death. And they might actually kill us next turn. Because usually they'll put like unnecessary cards at the bottom of their stack. All right, that's not good. I'm going to come across. And Gran-Gran's going to come out and say hi. She's like, her stance is like one of those propaganda statues that you'd see in like China or Russia. Okay, come on. Don't do it. Don't kill me. No, I'm dead. They're going to go for it. Yeah, we tried. There was nothing I could have done, I don't think. I mean, maybe like bouncing this back to hand. Yeah, let's just see what we would have drawn here. Draw a card. Yeah, we were drawing nothing, unfortunately. Yeah, and this doesn't even matter. We needed to get this. And this would have been good, but I do think that they have Pedal in there too. So I don't think Wasteland by itself would have worked. All right. So let's think about... I think Consign is terrible here. I'd much rather have Dismember. Like that entire game was won on the fact that we were distracted the entire time by Barry. I think 3 Dismember is probably plenty because it's not necessarily going to come up. Yeah, let's do it. I mean, Piracy Charm can come up in cute situations where they draw a card and you make them discard it before they can use it, like during their draw step. All right, come on, give me good hands. This is fine. This is not fantastic. I think this is a keep. Because I can Planisphere, Brainstorm. I've got Boomerang Basics. We only have Days as our interaction, but we're on the play. I'm really nervous now. Like, I'll tell you, like the first few rounds when you're winning, you're like, yeah, I can't believe I'm winning with this. But then once you get to like round 4, things start to get real and you're like, wow, I could actually trophy with this. Having said that, I'm sure I just ruined my odds of trophying because that's how karma works. The moment you actualize something by saying it, it becomes real. That's what all the self-help gurus taught me when I was going into debt for self-help guru classes. I didn't actually do that. All right, Island's out. I am going to hold the Brainstorm until they force me to use it. Please don't turbo me. I need a couple turns to set up. I haven't found my Gran-Gran yet. All right, it's tempting to just waste that, but they could cycle it. And I want to get stuff going over on my side of the table. Like this Planisphere here. Like this will potentially apply enough pressure that they may be incentivized to try to turbo and do a like slightly more dangerous line. If they daze this, I'm totally fine with that. I've got another one where that came from and I'll have more land out. All right, it's in. So daze is exclusively stopping Doomsday, hopefully. But if they have a second land and they have a Dark Ritual, there's not a lot we can do to stop Doomsday, unfortunately. And we are tapped out. But like you have to apply pressure somehow. Give it enough time, they'll sculpt forever and find exactly what they need. Cavern. Wizard. Okay, well that's not freaking Lurgoyf, which is huge for us. I think maybe they want me to waste that. I'm not sure what they're going for here, but I'm not going to fall for that. Okay, so I think the play is Storm Chaser, Boomerang Basics, the Storm Chaser back to hand. That gives us an extra card. Unfortunately, one of our lands is a Wasteland. The other option is Astrologian's Planisphere, Brainstorm. That gives us tons of attack power. I think it's more conservative to just play out the Storm Chaser's talent, pass, upkeep, waste. Every little decision matters a great deal here because they could but this is the card you waste. You don't waste this thing. I think I'm just going to start with the Brainstorm here. I do have Days in case they try to Bowmaster me, which I don't expect to happen. Because I feel like their entire, sideboard plan would have come in the previous round. They're dazing that. Okay, well, I will pay for it. Wait, why isn't it letting me... What's happening? MTGO. I was paying mana. Why can't I pay mana? What's going on? I'm gonna just escape this entire. I'm gonna restart, and I'm gonna lose if I can't pay this mana. Okay, I'm back. It looks like it's loaded in. I'm gonna. Yes, I would like to pay the one. What the heck? That was freaking terrifying. Are you going to fluster that now? Okay, sorry about it. I'll tell my opponent I crashed. Even though I didn't crash, I just got some weird thing that I will equate to a crash. So if this resolves, this becomes a 3/3, which is quite good. And we get 3 new cards. But it looks like they're going to do something to stop me. Sadly, I think I do need to fire my days here. I do really want these new spells. And had I played the card first, I wouldn't be vulnerable to this situation. Okay, so now we get our brainstorm. Oh, wow. That's pretty good. So I'm going to put back this island. I'll just shuffle it away. I think we can probably put back Dismember now that we have this gigantic creature. So she grows again. She's a 4/4. Now that I have the Force Negation, my instinct is just go freaking turbo. Go get an island here. I think I just throw out the Storm Chaser. They've already used 2 dazes. I think the odds of them having their 3rd daze are low. I think I want Storm Chaser here. I know Gran-Gran could give us cantrip ability, but that's not what I'm concerned about. I just want to kill them. And I think this does a pretty good job of killing them quickly. This will easily outclass a Baragorf. Baragorf will be but a speed bump. It will be a lethal speed bump, but I can just move this equipment over here and start going up with that. Also, I have another one. Are they just giving up? They're not playing their land because they don't want it to get wasted. Okay, that makes sense. Did I not shuffle? I thought oh, okay. I just got unlucky and drew another one. All right, so I think the simple thing to do here is Boomerang Basics this back to hand because I might draw a land. And then if I can somehow manage to draw another card, it does help me. Okay, another Wasteland. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to waste here. I'm just going to do that now. Okay, they're floating. They're going to do some trick maybe. Let's go to combat. They don't have Dismember. Okay, we'll attack for 8. They're extremely low in life. They could Doomsday. It would be hard. They do have 7 cards in hand. Crazier things have happened. I can pay for days if they find the 3rd days. But they are like starting with 0 interaction here. We won. We're 4-1. Or we're 4-0, rather. Yeah. Chill opponent. Thanks for your patience. Final round. We're on the play again. Up against an opponent. I have no idea what they're on. This hand's fine. It's a lot of Boomerang Basics. Hopefully that's good here. I'm not going to mulligan this. This has Brainstorm to put some of them back. My opponent is streaming, I think. They said they're 2-0 in their league. Congrats to Biodwarf. I have no idea what they're on. They just mulled the 5. Hopefully they're not on something degenerate that my hand cannot handle. 4 cards. Are we dead? Like, what's going on over there? At least we're on the play. They did the tongue sticking out. They said, not the best start. I will take every advantage I can get here. I'm playing like a $400 or $500 deck. Like I think it might be a little bit more than that because Force Negation is so expensive for some reason. They did reprint it, but I don't know. It's still a fortune. Like, I would love it if like $20 was a chase rare. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was really disappointed when they introduced Mythic. I want this game to be accessible to people. I want people to be able to play their dream deck and not have to like spend literally years worth of savings in some cases, like buying dual lands that they need. Yeah, it sucks. And then you got the collectors that are driving up the price and, just slabbing things. And I guess that's cool and all, but like, I'm a player. I am heartened to think long after like Wizards of the Coast goes out of business and is no longer like a going concern, that people will just do what Netrunner community did with the game, and then people can just play it then. But yeah, like I'm very happy that they're at least printing powerful uncommons. I mean, this card is so insane, and it's an uncommon. I love it. So my opponent mulled pretty deep. We'll see what they do here. They said good luck. Hopefully that doesn't mean they're about to shadow roam me. Okay. I definitely could. Ooh, I think I just keep up the brainstorm here. Just in case. I don't want to get got by some freaking oops combo because I let my guard down. And being able to brainstorm, we could potentially hit days. We could hit force. That's 8 hits in our deck. That's better than nothing. I would absolutely love to just pile on the pressure, but I need to be careful because I don't know what they're on. If they play like a forest or something, I'll be okay. There's this great video. I tweeted it. It's like, what if playing Magic were like a text, kind of like turn-based adventure game or something like that? And you're the perspective of the Oops player and you're playing against some guy who says like, I mainly play EDH. And then it's like, I'm going to play Lotus Petal. No, I'm going to cast Dark Ritual. It was crazy. I love it. It's great. You should absolutely go to my Twitter or X Twitter, whatever it's called now, and consider checking that out. So here, I think the simple thing to do is we Storm Chaser's Talent, see if we draw a land. The other option is like a Brainstorm first, which makes it easier. And just alone with these, we're going to get an Ancestral Recall if we just keep taking this back to our hand. The only thing I care about, the only thing reason I'm concerned is my opponent could have some incredibly degenerate thing that we have to stop. So I think just going ahead and brainstorming now is the correct play. Hopefully we get a land. Okay, so Days gives me some heart here. I think we put back Astrologian Planisphere. Like, I just don't think we need it. And then what I'll do is I'm going to Boomerang once. Yeah. So BioDwarf does Bizarre Boxes, bizarreboxes.com. Check it out. They have like, awesome. I just shouted you out. Okay. So I'm going to focus on the game though. So we do want to redraw that Boomerang Basics. And we're just going to go full freaking degen here. Like, this is going to be awesome. Assuming they don't have interaction. I'm going to bounce this back to hand. I don't think they're on a Daze type interaction deck. So I do think it's okay to go ahead and replay this and get yet another trigger. Because I want to Boomerang Basics next turn as well and replay. And they may even be dead before I can start Ancestraling, but I do want to Ancestral if I can. I'm just worried that they're going to have like some sort of crazy storm combo or something where my Daze is just nothing in the grand scheme of things. Like, they've got 7 cards in their hand now. Next turn we can hit them for 7, maybe 8. Abandon Attachments. Could discard and then we could Ancestral. I think that's worth it. The triggers are prowess. I just live in fear of like all this doing nothing. Like, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna actually discard a Boomerang Basics. As crazy as that sounds. We drew a Planisphere. Now I'm gonna Ancestral Recall. Oh, I don't have 2 freaking mana. I forgot. Gran-Gran's not here. Well, I will Boomerang Basics again. Yeah, I punted there. I didn't manage to rip a land that I would have used to cast Accumulate Wisdom. Hopefully we get a land here. I do want to keep the lands coming. All right, we're just attacking for 6 and literally Daze is our protection. They may have like they may be on like some sort of Reanimator strategy where they're going to discard a fatty in the end step. But I think we might be able to kill them next turn. We're going to accumulate knowledge. This should yield a land. There's the petal. Another petal. Okay, so now they can Dark Ritual and we're just dead. Oh, man. I feel like I screwed up. Yeah, I just didn't find any interaction. I definitely dug. All right, do you have a force? They probably have like a Spirit Guide. I think we're just up against Oops. It'll be humiliating to lose to somebody who mulled the 4. Let me put it that way. Did they mull the 4? I think they mulled the 4. And our deck did everything it was supposed to do. It's just that we didn't draw interaction. Packed, so we're dead. Yeah, it's really freaking sad. I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't like this type of Magic. I mean, my opponent's cool and all, but I'm just sick of playing against this deck, frankly. Okay. Now they can activate. Well, at least get to see their deck. Yeah, they had it. So they could have used that to pay for it. And I think in the first match against Oops, unfortunately I had to face it twice this league. Nobody should ever have to face Oops. It's just like a miserable experience. And that video I was talking about, like Oops was the deck that the player was playing, and the EDH, mainly EDH player, had some choice words for the Oops player after they figured out what had happened. So they're on the Pact build, which means they're probably not on the Creature Juke. They have Reanimates, noteworthy. It's a breach from below. Thassa's Oracle here. Dread Return. Cabal Therapy. Let's see the is the Dread Return in the yard? I can just concede. There it is. Yeah. And so they got 2 of these triggers, but I don't see any. They do have the Jack-o'-lantern combo, Memory Journey. I don't think there's anything else to learn here. It's just the same old freaking story. Again, I'm trying not to be salty, but like I'm so sick of playing against this deck. It doesn't have a great win rate, but it'll sometimes just get you. And like we were in an extremely dominant position, but it didn't matter. That's not how Magic should be played. Magic should be like a kind of a tug of war between 2 sides, not somebody just like hitching their tractor and just like, turning on the engine. Okay, so we're bringing in the Force Negations. I'll bring in Consign. It's a blue card for Force. I guess everything in our deck is a blue card for Force. Octopus Form probably doesn't do anything. Gran-Gran is card selection. I'm going to take out the Dismembers. Again, with the Pact, I don't think they're likely on a creature juke, but I could actually lose to that. But I want to shout out Echo Baronin, who had that insight, and I was like, oh, that's pretty good observation. Unfortunately, like probably nothing we do is even going to matter. That's just the nature of this degenerate deck. At least we're on the play. I mean, I was so close to Accumulate Wisdom, I just didn't find a land. And I think I didn't check, but I think Accumulate Wisdom draws us into like even one more interaction spell would have probably saved us. Merc could come out. I like Gran-Gran because she can actually do some card selection if we get stuck. Yeah, I'm going to take out the Merc. Gran-Gran reducing the cost would have been substantial there. Like I had a lot of, like if you look, everything in my deck is like 1 mana or 2 mana, but like aside from Murktide, everything can have its cost reduced by Gran-Gran. She's a very welcome presence around the Be Excellent resonance. This is a shuffle. I mean, we just can't keep these hands. It's so frustrating. Like this would be a perfectly good deck hand. Okay, this is a Gran-Gran hand. So I think I do want to get on the lesson train. If the forcing fails, I'm most likely to draw a land. Gran-Gran can basically ensure that, like, not ensure that I'll draw a land, but make it much more likely. They keep 7. This is really the big decision. I think I'm going to put back the land. Yeah, and unfortunately, like, Magic is condensed into these simple decisions. Mulligan. What am I going to put back? Okay, am I dead? How many disruption spells do you have in your hand? And I just want to point out, I'm playing 8 Force of Will effects. I'm playing Daze. I don't know. I've got Consigns in my deck. I don't know how much more I can respect this deck. And if I just randomly lose to it, I'm going to just be so tilted. It's going to be such a disgraceful end to an otherwise stellar league. Beating Testacular. I think is how you pronounce his name. Beating Doomsday. Lots of beating Oops once. Okay, Pedal's fine. Pedal, okay. Daze is looking pretty weak here. Bog. Shocked. Yeah, Daze is not going to do a damn thing, I don't think. They still got 5 cards in their hand. And keep in mind, if I force, they can just let this go. They're fighting with Pact over there. They probably have the reanimate now. They didn't even have the mulligan for it. Undercity Informer. I have to counter this. We'll see if it works. I will pitch the Astrological Planisphere because I'm going to plant a discard abandoned attachments. That worked. Now they're going to reanimate it. I saw the reanimates. They had to keep this hand on the strength of something. They knew I was going to mold a force. Please give me a freaking turn. My goodness. I just want to get my Gran-Gran going sideways and like sifting through my deck a little bit. I don't have an answer to Undercity Informer in my deck. Like basically, they reanimate, I daze, they get the Undercity Informer back. Then I have to draw exactly Boomerang basics to clear Undercity Informer. Gran-Gran dies in combat, unfortunately, as I desperately try to draw that. And then it's just a matter of time of how soon they can redeploy it. Another Pedal. They're going to go twice. My heart rate is sky freaking high right now. Please be going second time. Wait, what is this? Of Charbelcher? Right. That was a close one there, Hellbent. Gran-Gran is going to get to attack here. Please just concede or something. Like, I don't want to have to play this out from here. Yeah, they said, we took a risk. You did. But like it easily could have worked out for you. All right. And now Gran-Gran, like they can easily rebuild from this position. A reanimate just gets this right back into play. And I saw that. Boomerang Basics, I actually would have drawn it and bounced it back to hand had I been able to stop it. If they reanimate, I'm going to hold this Boomerang Basics precisely for that reason. I'm going to try to find a Wasteland, actually. Let's go ahead and attack. Because if I waste this, it does make it a lot harder for them to do stuff. I'm going to get a basic island out of the deck. I mean, I could just abandon attachments. I'm going to start working toward the thing. I don't want to actually cast that. They take 1 damage. I could just Boomerang Basics to get deeper into my deck, but I can't redeploy this turn. I'll do that next turn. But like if they reanimate, I do have a Boomerang Basics to put it back in their hand. It's just an honest day's work, as that old farmer meme thing. It ain't much, but it's an honest day's work or something like that. Okay, now Boomerang Basics doesn't stop it. Wasteland is no longer a stellar draw. I'll just go ahead and fetch my upkeep here. Again, just trying to reduce the number of lands I draw because I am going to need to draw interaction stat. Another abandoned attachments. I'm actually considering casting this with Boomerang Basics. Let's see what I draw here. I get to draw before I discard here. Ancestral Recall. I'll bin the abandoned attachments. All right, I'll play this land out. We only have 2 lessons. I think I just need to bounce Gran-Gran to hand now. I'll get a card. Maybe it's a force. It's crazy that I'm doing this. I can just replay her. Please give me a freaking turn. My goodness, I've worked so hard to get here. I've got Ancestral Recall on tap, and I feel like if I start Ancestraling, I'm not going to lose. But they still could just rip like the reanimate. Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it. All right. Seriously whiffing here. I'm going to go ahead and attack first. And this is with me proactively fetching lands out of my deck. Consign is a great rip. So we'll bin this land. Let's say Ancestral. I will start wasting them if I find wastes here instead of deploying islands. I do need to kill them now. Okay. Okay. So I don't think they can win with Charbelcher off the top. They could rip this, and I can't stop this with Consign anyway. The safest thing to do is to bounce this back to hand. I think I'm just going to Storm Chaser, and I'm going to immediately bounce it. That gets me a card deeper. I'm going off Consign for a turn. I just want to kill them before they get the critical mass. We're playing with fire here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to Merc, and then if they do rip another one, I can bounce it back to hand and then maybe kill them. I don't think I'll be able to kill them, but I might be able to get some disruption in the meantime. Let's see. I have 1, 2, 3. I can make this a 6/6, which puts them on basically like a 2-turn clock. And the other option is I just deploy a Storm Chaser talent and I hold up Consign. I don't know what's in their deck. It's possible they have some other card. Yeah, I need to keep the Boomerang Basics, I think. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've still got 3 of these lessons in my graveyard. All right. Next turn. So we hit them for 7, 2 turns in a row, and they're dead. And then we have to win on the draw. Damn it. They freaking had it. So tilting. So freaking tilting. The dream's dead. I've fought so hard for this trophy. Yeah, the holding up Consign wouldn't have mattered. I didn't think about it, but like we didn't have this contingency. That's the one contingency we didn't have covered, essentially. Like I could consign some of the triggers, I guess. I don't think it's enough. Yeah, they don't have anything in hand, so everything they need is going to be in their graveyard. Well, let's go ahead and do the post. Like, I just want to make sure that they don't like somehow choke over here. But I'll go ahead and do the debrief. Man, I'm so sorry that I couldn't get that freaking trophy. Like, I worked really freaking hard for it. Like, this is one of the most frustrating closings to a league I've had in a long time. All right, so let's talk about the deck. I think the list was fine. Murktide seems fine. I mean, it's just a generic good card. Octopus Form did come up like at least once. You could trim these, but then you do have a low lesson count. You could also go up to 2 Gran-Gran. She was fine, but she's not going to be fine when you're actually fighting creatures. She was great when I was up against Oops All Spells. I don't know. I don't know, honestly. I'm just numb from that freaking Oops loss. Yeah, I mean, it's incredibly frustrating. Are my opponents still looking for their drive return? Gosh. Oh my goodness. What can I say? I don't know what to say. That was so freaking close. I'm sorry. That was so freaking close. Like I felt that game like, okay, we're going to go to game 3. I felt it. And then they just top deck like Reanimate, which is the one card they could have top decked that I didn't have an answer to. And so even if I consigned the triggers, the problem is I would need to be able to replicate like 3 times because here, let me show you the board state. So my opponent just offered to give me the win, which is super chill, but I'm going to concede right now because I do not want them to give me the win. Okay. So, yeah, like that would be a super chill thing, but I didn't earn it. I lost. So that was a 4-1, but it was a freaking phenomenal league. We got to Ancestral many times. Is this legacy power level? I would argue that it may be. The problem is that this abandoned attachments card sucks. It's terrible, but what else are you going to play? So let's take a look at the lessons that are available in Mono Blue. Shout out to Scryfall. I use them all the time. Now, I'm hoping that they print more lessons. So some of them are multicolor, like Abandoned Attachments, so I'm going to show all of them. So obviously, Accumulate Wisdom, Boomerang Basics, those are the 2 good ones. And then you really quickly drop into like Fractal Token, 3 mana to create a creature, basically. It's like terrible. And then we've got these colorless ones that suck. It'll Quench You, probably the silliest named Magic card of all time. I think I may have mentioned that earlier. This is not legacy playable. This is terrible. Something costs 5 mana. Mercurial Transformation. This might be okay if it were an instant, but it's a sorcery. Until end of turn, target non-land permanent loses all abilities and becomes your choice of blue frog creature with base power and toughness of 1/1 or blue octopus creature with base power 4/4. I'm sorry, that's not legacy playable. I'm not even sure if that's draft playable. And then Octopus Form, which I said is very mediocre, but is cheap. And then this Secret of Bloodletting is nobody's ever going to have 14 freaking mana to whatever it's called, Mindslaver their opponent. That card sucks. And then this card, which is like 5 mana to draw some cards, which we don't even need card draw. We need like cheap stuff. And also this Teachings of the Archaics is pretty janky. Let's go to the last page. Waterbender's Restoration. You have to pay extra mana or Waterbend, which our deck can't do because we're very permanent light. Exile X creatures you control return to the battlefield. So that might be good in like an Aether Vial style deck, but you wouldn't play it because it's double blue. And then these cards are just too expensive, like Whirlwind Technique. Water Whip. Also, you have to Waterbend 5. So they're just unplayable stuff, like basically. So that leads you to dip into the other colors. And the only other good lesson I've found in any color is Price of Freedom. I think that is a good card, and I do have a video with it. Maybe some of these cards are okay in like big mana decks. Academic Prohibition, I have no idea. These seem pretty middling. This is not actually in the new set. This is in a previous set, Strixhaven. And that's why I'm hopeful that they'll bring more lessons out. And eventually, this Accumulate Wisdom will be very cracked. But right now, I would say, I think we got very lucky this league. We were on the play 4 out of 5 rounds. I think that if you want to just build the deck that I just built without the lessons, like the lessons seem very aspirational. Let me show you the deck that I would play if I were just playing this type of deck without it. Okay, and here's the list that I've been playing, but I actually think that this list can be improved upon. First of all, Tamiya would have been okay, but we're always struggling with mana. We always had tons of stuff to do, and part of that was because we were playing those lessons that cost so much mana, but part of it is because, we don't want to necessarily be creating a bunch of clues that we never have time to crack. So I'm going to show you my Tamiya list version of this deck. So I would probably play something like this. I would play all 4 Piracy Charms. It's been really good in certain situations. And then what I did was I brought in Delver of Secrets and went down to 2 Murktides. I think 2 is plenty. Like we frequently, because we're drawing so many cards, we might draw a redundant Murktide, and that's not good. You generally don't want to play Murktide. Murktide was good in our league, but I think Delver of Secrets might be better. Now, I have had bad luck with Delver in general. Like I just feel like it's been way worse than Tamiyo, but Tamiyo does not line up with anything else our deck is trying to do. Our deck is trying to kill people through damage. Tamiyo tries to tempo people through just like a completely different dimension. It's not really like if they remove your Tamiyo when she's on 8, you achieve nothing. You just spend a bunch of turns plusing your Tamiyo. And granted, you didn't invest a lot to do that. It doesn't jive philosophically with what we want here. So I would play Boomerang Basics and Storm Chaser Talent. That is a very solid combo. And the beauty of Boomerang Basics is you can just bounce Astrologia's Planisphere back to hand. So you can play this. Let's talk about this. So this implies that you're going to be flipping Delver a lot. And you will, because I think it's like 28. Let's pull up the pile view. Okay, and then I'm just going to sort like instance versus non-instance. Also, we weren't playing Ponder. We were playing Jank instead of Ponder. So that's something that you won't have a problem with if you play a deck like this. That's like maybe a little more respectable, if you want to call it that. Like, okay, so check this out. We've got basically 14 cards that aren't an instant or sorcery, and 28 that are, and then we've got the 18 lands. And I think this is like way more robust. So you're much more likely to be able to trigger the Planispheres. You're very likely to flip the Delvers, and then you also just have lots of Planisphere is very good, and it synergizes very well with like Preordained to draw cards and things like that. Now, one thing you might be considering is, what if we just cut the Delvers and we played a ton of Baubles? I almost feel like that's better. So let's take a look at what it would look like if we just played all the Baubles. Okay. And we're cutting Preordains. You want to cut the Preordains if you're not going to have Delver, because you're basically paying mana to do something very similar to what a Bauble already does. One of the beauties of this is these just cycle, basically. You have a lot of land. You're always going to hit your land drops. You probably could go down to 17 lands because, and also this makes you slightly less dead to Chalice on 1, which with Preordained, like you can still crack through your Baubles. They're not going to Chalice on 0. So I think this is actually the version I would play here. Again, you're not worrying about Delver. You are low on threats, but you're likely to draw to those threats pretty quickly with Baubles. And Bauble, even though it doesn't buff the Merc, it does help you get the Merc out. And just even like a 4/4 Merc, a 5/5 Merc can do a lot. So I'm going to show the deck real quick. And this will be a very cheap deck. It doesn't have Tamiyo in it. I wouldn't be surprised if this is like $700 or something like that. These Astrological Planispheres, these Storm Chaser Talents, they've gone down a lot since they first came out. Like these are like 25 cents and these are like $5 or $6. I just ordered mine. And you can always just play out a Bauble, Boomerang Basics it back to hand, and replay it if you don't have, for example, Storm Chaser's Talent out. So it gives you additional things that you can target with Boomerang Basics. So at the worst, it's a cantrip that builds your prowess. Now, you may be saying, well, aren't there other good prowess creatures that we can put in here? One thing that people often say is like Ledger Shredder. But Ledger Shredder, I think, is a pretty mediocre card, frankly. It's not on the same power level as Astrologian's Planisphere and Storm Chaser Talent. So that would be my answer to that. Anyway, I think I'm going to play a league with this build because even though these Baubles often like are really finicky, it is good. What I'm going to do also is I am going to go up to a 3rd Merc and I'm going to take out a land. And that may seem extreme, but hear me out. We just basically reduce the size of our deck from a 60 card deck to a 52 card deck. So let's do the hypergeometric here. And I encourage you to do this all the time. Check your intuition with actual factual numbers. I just use this Aether Hub one. So let's say we have a 52 card. Okay, so first let's take a look if we have 14 blue sources, right? 14 blue sources. The odds of getting one, which is all we really need, 86 cards, 86%. So basically like we're going to have to mulligan like 1 out of 7 or 8 times. It's not bad. But if we go down to 13, but we go down to 52 cards, we're actually even better off. But the problem is you don't know whether those Baubles are going to crack into lands. So you probably still have to put back no landers. And and I don't count Wasteland. Wasteland is effectively a spell. But because we're playing days, because we're playing on the baubles, I think it's fine to do that. And then we can go all the way up to 3 Murktides, which gives us an additional threat. So I'm going to play this, and it'll be in the next league. And if you have feedback on my play, always leave comments with timestamps. It's super helpful for me. I'm trying to improve as a player. It's possible, like I punted away somehow. I felt like my mulligans in the final round were fine. Once we established they were on oops, we didn't know they were going to mold a 4 and be on an oops start. But I think keeping 2 points of interaction is the best we can do. It's not like we have Leyline of the Void in our deck. If you're losing a lot to oops and you just don't want to have to bother with it, Leyline of the Void basically shuts them down, and then they have to use like the juke. Just practice against the deck. I've played against it hundreds of times. I'm not exaggerating. It's like when I'm dying on my deathbed, I'll look back and I'll be like, I spent like a waking 2 or 3 days of my life playing against freaking oops players. And that'll be a sad thing to reflect upon. But as a result, I am a little bit better at beating oops. And until it gets banned, which will probably happen eventually because people will just get so tired of playing against it, my advice would be just stay strong and keep playing against it. But this is a really fun archetype, like blue tempo with like the basic lands where you don't have to worry about Wasteland. Like, I strongly recommend this as a first deck if you want to pick it up. And I would not build the Lessons build that I played today. I think that's okay. It's gimmicky. This is much more solid, or something like this. I've got 2 other videos where I played the Storm Chaser Talent Boomerang Basics combo. It is a legit combo. I do think it's very strong, and I do think it's legacy power level thing to do. And I think anytime you're playing, Days, Wasteland, Force, packed up by powerful threats like Murktide, you're in a good place in Legacy. I'll leave it there. Until next time, be excellent to each other and party on.